When you're a young kid who wants to be a filmmaker, it's inevitable that you're going to watch The Godfather. The Godfather was my grandfather's favorite film. He knew the film line by line, and when it was on TV, I kid you not, he'd go from beginning to end saying every actor's piece of dialogue in sync with them. My grandfather grew up and lived most of his life in Staten Island, where the opening wedding scene of The Godfather took place. You probably won't believe me because I'm not going to go into detail in a YouTube video, but he was actually acquainted with some Godfather-like men in the 70s and 80s. I swear on my life, him and my grandmother actually saw an advanced screening of The Godfather in someone's home for this reason. So you could say there were many reasons I wanted to see this movie when it finally came my way. The baptism scene is obviously influential and incredible. The whole movie is incredible. But it's the diner scene with the bathroom and the gun and the trains whizzing by that has latched onto me and will never let go. Pacino has this look on his face when he's sitting at the table. It's hardened and powerful. His face is swelling with rage. As he begins his metamorphosis, something that was once hidden inside him is protruding forward, fighting to burst out. I tried to copy the look on Pacino's face on one of my actors in my short film, The Manicurist. Sometimes I just watch this diner scene with Pacino on repeat on YouTube to remind myself of how powerful art and life and performance can be, to watch the genesis of change. The Godfather was all I saw from Coppola for years. I didn't even watch The Godfather 2. But then in film school, I walked into the wrong auditorium for a class and Apocalypse Now was playing. I stood there staring at the helicopters flying in these formations in awe. And then I walked back out. A great friend and a great cinematographer I worked with always told me to watch it. It was one of his favorite movies, so I figured it was time. I had just started seeing this girl, and so I guess you could call it our second date. I asked if she was okay with it, and we watched this 3-hour epic on my bed on maybe my 30-inch TV with these shitty stereo speakers. It was one of the most intimate nights of my life, sharing this first viewing with her, especially since it was her first viewing too. Movies are how I communicate. Movies are how I think. I think snuggling up with her as a war film flickered before our eyes made me fall in love with her, even though I don't think I knew her that well yet. And I didn't really know what love was.
I expected someone like you. What did you expect?
It was early 2024 when I saw a 4K restoration of One from the Heart reprise in theaters. It's just magnificent. The sets and the colors and the bravado, the understanding of Terry Garr's brilliance. I feel like Coppola did something with that movie that no one will ever do again. He created an entire city the way he saw it. He had a chance to do so because he'd built his own studio, Zoetrope. He seems to always create exactly what he sees in his head and hears, and he refuses to compromise. Truth be told, The Conversation will always be my favorite film of his. The way he literally starts with a conversation and the conversation plays through the whole film is genius. It shows that our work isn't just something we can give up for money. If we care about our work, we will put our whole selves into it. Sadly, it can deceive us into misunderstanding and misinterpreting what we've done. Our work can drive us to madness. It can make us alone. But even if we destroy everything for our work, there are still ways we can create. There's still music to be heard. Music to be played. Perhaps on a saxophone. When Megalopolis came out, I was told it would be horrible, so I went in with no expectations. I'll admit, I was scared to tell people I really liked it. So I sunk in with the masses and I was like, yeah, it was alright. Coppola's movies are exciting because they are an expression of pent-up ideas, a breadth of knowledge, a rage, a fear, a desire, a helplessness, a passion, and always a gamble. We all know Coppola gambles his life away to make his films. He puts his back against the wall, and sometimes he builds a wall in front of himself at the same time. But to be ridiculously cliche, they do say that coal, under pressure, does make diamonds. Maybe that's what happens when you're a kid who has polio and are bedridden for it. You get used to being stuck in a corner in this messed up world with nowhere to go, and all you can do is create to find new worlds to escape to and figure out who you are in those places. He spent $120 million of his own money to make Megalopolis because he had to make it. He needed to make it. It was building inside him, and if he didn't risk it and put it out there, he probably would explode just like Pacino's face in the Godfather diner scene. I'm nowhere near where Coppola exists as a filmmaker, but I understand what it feels like to have an idea that no one understands and no way to make it, and that insatiable thirst to do anything you can to get it out there. It is because of Coppola that I gambled my life savings and mental health and physical health and relationships and friendships and family to make a movie. Sure, I spent less than 0.5% of what he did, but gambling on myself freed me. The film actually improved my mental health, physical health, and my relationships with people, and my understanding of art. I'm not saying you should risk your life to make a film, I'm just saying I did. I don't know how many people will see my feature, Sydney, but it exists. And that's because a hero of mine showed me a way to do it,